Good evening, Teklians. If you're wondering why I'm doing this ridiculous, lame attempt at an accent, it was in one of our questions. Someone actually requested that I do the episode with a British accent. And I'm not going to offend all of Britain by doing the entire episode that way. So, you're getting just the intro. Welcome to episode 25. This is mobile processing. We're going to be speaking about mobile processors and mobile computing. Good morning, Joe. It's not morning. I don't know why I said that.
Good morning, Chris. Are you from Britain or Australia? I couldn't tell.
I have no idea. I'm from everywhere. My accent is from everything.
Everywhere.
I've got a little bit of Irish in there as well.
I think I'm offending everybody that speaks the English language right now.
Yeah, if we're going to do it, just offend the entire world, right? Yeah, I'm Irish now, or Scottish. I really don't know.
Are you a fucking leprechaun?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it...
Well, you got a problem with that?
I just want a pot of gold.
Always after me, Lucky Charms.
Oh my god. That's the intro. I sounded nothing like anything remotely English, Australian, or Irish, I don't think.
I don't know what the hell I was doing. I think that was...
It sounded like, I couldn't tell, it wasn't you for the beginning, but then when you switched to the Irish accent, it was clearly an Irish accent.
Well, I am Irish, so... I don't know if that means anything.
Mine just probably sounded fucked up. I just probably sounded like, why is he talking like that? Is he okay? Did he have a stroke?
Somebody call an ambulance.
Somebody's watching this live, like, should I call the ambulance for that poor guy?
This is happening live. He's gonna die on air.
Alright guys, thanks for coming to the show. We'll see you guys next week.
After doing that, what else could we do, really? I mean, there is no show after that, right?
So, do you think your phone could run Windows 8?
My phone?
Your phone.
Why would I do that to my phone?
Wait, if you were retarded and you wanted to put full Windows 8 in your phone, do you think you could run it?
If I was like, I want to put Windows 8 on my phone. No, it would not be able to run Windows 8. It would be very, very slow and crappy. And it would probably self-destruct just to put itself out of its misery.
What if you try to run KDE on it?
It would implode in on itself.
So your phone can't really do much besides Android. Mobile operating systems is limited.
It can make noises.
What kind of phone did you get? What is this sorcery?
This is the Nexus 12.
You're a couple. Mine doesn't do sound yet. It has video on par with Game Boy Advance games, and
I can look at pictures on here.
Pictures of cats.
Pictures of cat.
Alright. But why not? Why can't your phone do that? Because it sucks, that's the answer.
Because the processor is not a Bay Trail processor.
Because it's not an advanced processor.
Right.
That's kind of the thing. But before we get to the one particular processor, I want to talk about processors that come far, and they're starting to make more and more powerful processors. The biggest problem with phones and tablets is they're closed. They're closed up, so they have to put processors in there that don't need a fan to run, or don't need some type of ventilation running through it to cool the processor. And that greatly limits them. Or it did.
Until one day. Sorry.
Sorry, you can take it from here. You got this. Let's go. In your English accent.
I was doing an intro for you. I was setting...
Until one day, Intel came up with their Bay Trail processor, which I originally thought was just a processor, but it's a whole line of Atom processors. So they're all the Intel Atoms, and they all have a different number. There's Z3000, Z277, Z377, and they come in both 32 and 64-bit options. All of them can run in a fanless environment, so you can put it in a tablet if you wanted to, and they can handle a full desktop operating system as well in that fanless operating system. They released already a couple of devices running the 32-bit version of the Bay Trail. I believe they have 3. I can only remember 2 of them right now. One of them is a Dell, and the other one is the Asus T100, which is a full Windows 8 tablet, but it's closed off and it comes with a keyboard dock. And they're both kind of a little slow, a little laggy, but they're running the 32-bit versions. and they're running Windows 8. Windows 8 is most of the part, it's the problem, but Intel also has a 64-bit version of that same processor, and it kicks ass. I mean, compared to an i7, it's a little crying baby, and i7 walks over and like kicks it out the window, and it falls and dies. But compared to what we have, it kicks ass. It can function completely without overheating in a fanless environment. It's able to run any full desktop operating system. It can run, it ran Photoshop without a problem. So that's awesome. It's 64-bit, which means, what is 64-bit? That means compatible with up to 64 gigabytes of RAM. Imagine one day having 64 gigabytes of RAM in your phone. But it was also able to play Team Fortress 2, which it's a low-end game. It's kind of similar to Doom when it comes to quality, but your phone can't play Doom.
Yes, I can.
Your phone can play Doom?
I've seen Doom installed on an old iPod video.
Really?
Before touch, before all that, you actually navigated it with the click wheel.
Really?
Really?
Well, this can do it too. But yeah, it's still pretty cool.
It's exciting too because it makes like tablets and stuff more useful because there really is no use for a tablet.
Right now, a tablet is a big phone that can't make a phone call. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're gonna run the apps that you have on your phone, but on a bigger screen. It's like there's nothing useful really that you would normally do on your computer that you're gonna be like, oh, I can do that on my tablet. Like you can get the Photoshop app, but it's crap. It's like there's no real power in there. It's like tablets are really just kind of like luxury items. Like there's no use for them.
But now there will be. And this is awesome because now Linux can start making tablets, which is what I would love. I would fucking love to have a Linux tablet. But even Android now, you can see more powerful apps dedicated for tablet use that might not be able to be run on a phone, but you can run on a tablet. You can start doing things on your tablet that normally you had to use on a computer, which is awesome. What is it? I was also reading the thing, it can support DirectX 11. It can run a 4K video. It has enough processing power to play a 4K video. So it's awesome.
It's very awesome.
Also, with now the ability to, I haven't looked into how to do it, but apparently you can now port web apps from ChromeOS to Android. So once ChromeOS gets more into development, a lot more of those native web apps, you can get a lot more powerful programs to run also on an Android tablet using that port option. Especially since really when it comes to developing web apps, you're not really limited by the web, you're limited by the processing power of the device you're running that app on. That's the great thing about web apps and why I think in the end, even beyond like the smartphones and everything, web apps are kind of where we're headed, is that whole cloud computing thing, because you're limited by the processing power and the technology of your device. I mean, it's there, you're just going to be able to run it.
We were talking about ChromeOS and everything and how amazing it would be to have a ChromeOS tablet. I mean,
or ChromeOS Android dual boot.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Like to have a tablet that you could run ChromeOS on or Android. You can dual boot when because you can then dock it into a keyboard. And I think really there would be more of a market for a ChromeOS tablet than most tablets today. I mean, you pay $500 for a tablet that is just a giant phone.
But then when you think about it, you just also paid $750 for your phone, which is a small tablet.
Yeah. Or in my case, it was $350. Unless you go Nexus, which is gonna be going away.
That's not true.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but I'm pissed. I wanted to do a rant about this, but I am pissed at how everybody is acting like this is true because some guy that posts leaks posted it on his Twitter, and everyone took it, and it's everywhere now.
Well, I think what more people are talking about too is because once they sold it, they were talking about how they kind of made it, like Larry Page made a statement about how he kind of makes it sound like they're trying to get out of the mobile. He was saying something about how you really have to be all in, and it kind of made it sound like they don't have the resources to really focus on hardware and all this other stuff, and they need to kind of get rid of some things. And
and they get rid of Motorola. But I mean, the Nexus phone they've had for a long time. That was always a developer phone.
Yeah, that's the thing with Nexus. They don't have to be making the hardware themselves for it to be Nexus. Nexus existed before they did. We haven't had a Nexus phone that they made them to all themselves, have we? Because the Moto X and the Moto G are the first devices to come from Google taking over Motorola, and those weren't really Nexus phones. They were very close to stock, but they weren't. The Nexus 5 wasn't made by them.
I don't think Nexus is going to go away. I'm hoping it doesn't. But I mean, this guy that posted the leaks, a lot of people are taking it seriously because also he's very rarely wrong. He has been wrong. He posted that Motorola was going to make the Nexus 5. He was wrong about that. But he's right a lot of the time. But I'm A, hoping he's wrong. And B, if he is wrong, what I think we're going to see is when with future Nexus devices, is it's not going to be marketed as much because they didn't market previous Nexus devices that much. The Nexus 4 was marketed a little bit, and with the Nexus 5, they were marketing it like it was a consumer phone. And now that they have this deal with Samsung for the cross patents, but they're going to get out of the hardware game, I think they still probably might keep Nexus for developers, but I don't think they're going to market it anymore as a phone for sales. Nexus 7, Nexus 10, those they were marketing since they started for people. But the phone was always a developer phone. And then they started, especially with the Nexus 5, they went a little heavy in trying to market up as a consumer phone. Like, buy this phone, this is a good phone. And I think that's really what pissed off Samsung a bit. And Samsung, they can't afford to lose. And they went ahead and made their own Linux kernel operating system, Tizen. And they were starting to move everything over to the Samsung apps. And as much as I hate them, they do represent 80% of the Android phones. And Google makes their money on their Android services, not on their hardware, so they can't afford to lose Samsung. They would rather cut out things like getting rid of Motorola, maybe even cut out advertising the Nexus, than lose Samsung, because that would be 80% of their Google services they're losing on Android phones.
I really want the Nexus line to stay because I don't have any intentions on ever getting anything that is not a Nexus after having a Nexus. So,
but I also don't think it's going to go away because you're always going to need a way to get, for developers, first and foremost, you're going to need a way to get stock Android that doesn't involve rooting. You need to be running it natively. And even the Google Play Edition devices, those run stock Android, but there's a lot of problems with it. Sometimes it doesn't work right because stock Android wasn't made for those devices. Stock Android was made to run on the Nexus devices. So it's the same thing as how sometimes when you put a ROM on your phone, you get bugs because the ROM's tweaked and moved around of stock to work on your device. It's the same thing with the Google Play Edition phones. They're taking the phones and putting the Google ROM on it, a pure Google ROM on it. So I hope Nexus doesn't go away. And even if it wasn't always called Nexus, there was always a developer phone for Android. The first Android phone, while it was released for consumers, was also the developer model. I actually have it here somewhere. Let's see. The first phone was the HTC Dream, which was also went by another name here in the United States, I believe. It was the T-Mobile G1. That was the first Android phone. And that was it was also called Android. It went by the name through Google was Android Dev Phone 1. The Android Dev Phone 2 was the Google Ion. And that was called, the United States, it was also called the HTC Magic or the MyTouch 3G. And I believe that was the first, that still had the trackball on it. And those were the first two Android Dev phones, and they actually have them listed up from Google as Android Dev Phone 1 and Android Dev Phone 2. And then after that they started the Nexus family, and the Nexus 1 was the first one, and then the Nexus S was the first one that was completely reliant on touchscreen. The Nexus 1 still had a little trackball to move around if you needed to. Nexus S was the first one completely reliant on touchscreen, but there was always an Android Dev phone that ran pure Android. Especially after, and the reason why they did that was because after the time they had the HTC Magic or the MyTouch 3G, whatever you want to call it, that's when a lot of other phone makers started making Android phones. It was a free operating system. They didn't have to do any work themselves. They just had to produce the hardware and put it on it. And after that, they needed a way to differentiate their dev devices from everybody else. And that's why we have the Nexus line, and that's why I don't think it's going to go away, because we're going to need developer phones for Android to advance. It's an important thing that we need.
It's just a little bit sad that Google isn't going to be. It was exciting to think that it's going to be Nexus, and it's going to be entirely made by Google. You know, just the whole in-house thing. It was kind of cool. It's just sad that it's never really got to happen. I mean, there's the Moto X, and the Moto X is still an amazing device, but not for me.
And it is kind of exciting, though, to see where Lenovo is going to go now that they have Motorola. They needed that step to get into the U.S. marketplace, and Motorola definitely gives it to them. But if they keep near stock on it, that would be a huge point for them, because that's one of the things I love about the newer Motorola phones, is they're running near stock. Something else I was going to say, but I completely forgot. But also Lenovo, I was just reading an article that they're very good at implicating business purposes into their devices that make it good for business. And right now, as much as I hate the fact that this is so, in most companies, the main phone used for companies is the iPhone, which is completely ridiculous, since Android can do so much more. But I'm hoping that Lenovo will be able to do something, because they're so prominent in the business workplace as a company, since they bought a lot of things from IBM. I'm hoping that they will be able to help make Android bigger in the business world.
Is that all we have?
That's all we have. It was a very lightly prepared week with a little bit of random stuff that pops up coming along.
Yeah.
I have a globe. Actually, I have a globe. You guys want to? It spins.
That barely spins.
It's because I have it tightened. I can loosen it, I think.
Yeah, you better loosen it. God.
Can I loosen it? Yeah. Maybe. Does it loosen the bottom too? There we go. There we go. I just like it tight. Yeah. That's what I said.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I like my globe. But listen, I'm like really weird. Like, I love technology. I love everything as advanced as I can get it. But then when I'm actually somewhere, I like it to look. I like that antique look. I like my old globe where it's not the bright blue water. It's like the dim faded yellow color.
I have a globe out there. I should bring it in here next time so I can show it. It's like black. Like everything is like made. It's like made out of like different like. I don't know what it is, like weird texture thing. It's hard to explain. I have to take a picture. But it like, or everything that's water, that's the ocean, is black, and then all the words is silver, and then like the continents and everything are all different. Kind of, they almost look like different colored shells or something, like different marbled textures. It's.
Oh, that is really cool.
Crazy. It's pretty awesome. I need to get it in here. It's a really heavy globe too, actually. But I like that too. I like a weird combination of like, it's not quite like you know how steampunk is kind of like modern stuff mixed with like, you know, Victorian era stuff. I like Victorian era type stuff mixed with futuristic stuff.
That's what I like. Yeah, it's not quite steampunk. Steampunk's a lot of gears too.
Yeah, I like steampunk, but my personal style is like really old-fashioned mixed with futuristic.
Yeah,
like,
and that is what I like too. Like, I love my old desk. This desk is old. It's like, I think 40s. I have like old wood. Like, I love everything wooden, like for my desks and for my stuff. But then I want like, you know, the best screens, the best computers, the best phones, just all integrated in with it.
Yeah.
If I were to build a spaceship, I would have all the consoles, like the tabletops, wood, and then like the expensive like monitors and high tech stuff.
Like the Eighth Doctor's console in the movie. That was perfect. It was high tech, but it looked all old and steampunkish looking.
Yeah, it was cool because it looked Victorian, because that was how the whole interior of his TARDIS was all old, like Victorian era looking, and that was awesome.
Yeah.
God, we need more Eighth Doctor.
Yeah, we do. Join us next week for a science update. We're going to talk about science and all kinds of sciencey, YNC stuff. So get in the live chat and submit your questions. Go to the Teklian website, Teklian.TV. Go to questions, submit requests. Submit some improv. Joe loves improv.
One of these days too, speaking, I'm gonna actually, I meant to say this before you said improv, but one of these days I want to literally like start the episode and I have my keyboard off to the side and I have a full steak dinner in front of me and a beer and be like, this is how I'm doing the episode this week. Just think about how I'm eating this steak and you're not. Just what I'm gonna say to the viewers, just be like, you guys aren't eating steak, but I gotta say, we should like plan it. We should both have like a steak dinner. Like, we're gonna eat steak and drink beer this episode.
Just for that, we're gonna get like 24 improv submissions onto our questions form. Just for that.
We'll do that for a random episode. We can actually get people in the chat again.
Get in the chat next week.
All right.
Join us.
Next week.
We're done this week. Get out of here. Go.
See you later.
Get out of here. Bye.
Go. Bye.
No, come back. I was joking.
Are they gone?
I don't know.
Did you leave me? Okay, we can shut off the live.